Hello, it's Jimmy here at O'Reilly. So I have here a Citroën Berlingo. It's just arrived with a repetitive AdBlue fault that hasn't been able to be solved by the garages that he's been to. So they've just been turning off the light and saying they don't know how to fix it. And yeah, basically that's it. So the story so far is the light's been cleared and the customer doesn't know exactly what the fault was, only that it was an AdBlue error. So the problem here is if the fault is not now logged back in the system, I've got a problem of trying to guess what the issue was. Basically, with sensor faults, AdBlue faults, it can take a couple hundred miles of the van driving and trying to meet certain parameters to then realise, okay, this is wrong or that's wrong, and we're not happy about it. But if the fault is not logged, it can be quite tricky to know where to look or what sort of fault you're looking for. We know it's AdBlue related, but that's it. So let's get inside and have a look. Okay, we've got the launch connected up. Get it started up. See if we've got anything sort of beeping up at the minute. These can take about 10 seconds to beep with an error, these vans, once they start it up. So it has been cleared by garage and it's just driven about 20 miles from the garage straight here to me, so it hasn't really done much of a journey. Okay, let's use the launch Euro X431 Euro, whatever you like to call it, and that's the model there, X431 Euro. We'll set up a scan and see what's going on. Citroën Berlingo K9. Would be nice if they had a picture of the actual car you're working on. It always shows a Mercedes, an unbranded Mercedes, but it's clearly a Mercedes. We'll do a high-speed scan, see what it picks up. I'm probably going to pick up nothing, but there is a few things that I can look at on live data for the AdBlue. I mean, the most common thing would be looking at the AdBlue pressure to make sure that it's reading the AdBlue pressure and that it's above 4 bar. So if it's that, I'd be guessing that's the fault we're looking at. Most commonly on these you get two different types of faults. So if it's AdBlue related, you can get P208E, catalyst deficiency, which normally means the cat is knackered or the AdBlue is cracked and it's now given high emissions, so it knows the catalyst isn't lowering emissions, but if the DPF's cracked, it's not going to do that. The next one is P208E, AdBlue pressure, basically too low. Okay, so it looks like we have a fault. Have we finished scanning? We're finished. P208E, DENOX system detection of a blockage. Right, this is it's a bit of a rare code. This one is similar to what I've said earlier, P208, but this is a P208E, detection of a blockage. If you get a P208E8, which is the opposite, you'd get AdBlue pressure too low. Right, let's have a look at the live data for this. Normally this engine code here works fine. Just read the code, make sure that it's reading the ECU under that ECU code. Data stream, DENOX 1 first. Let's just select all of that. So you see there 4 bar of pressure. What we want to see is that going up to sort of 5.5 or 6 bar. It can take a few minutes. Oh, we're straight there. The engine's already warm, it's just arrived. So if the engine's cold, you might need to get it up to temperature before that moves. But as long as we can see that moving, at least we know the tank is working. So, detection of a blockage. Let's just go down and see if we can see anything that stands out. Got 5.5 litres in there, 5.8 pressure. Right, so this is a relatively rare code for me. I don't see this much But you've got to sort of translate to what the fault is saying, and what do you think that could mean. Detection of a blockage, to me, would say it's pumping the fluid up, but it realizes that the fluid's not going anywhere, or the pressure is building up too high. The pressure would build up too high if you got a blockage, of course, or the pressure would stay steady at a high rate, and it's realizing that it's not fluctuating. So when it sprays, the pressure should sort of drop a little bit and then go back up. But if you've got a blockage, of course, and you're trying to push pressure through, the pressure will build up. So I'm guessing that's what's happened. I'll try and test drive it, see if the pressure is going above the 6 bar. Maybe that's what's happening. But we'll have a look at some other stuff on here and see if we can see anything else. Okay, let's come back out of that bit and have a look at the DENOX 2. Where are we? 2. Injection is authorized, engine coolant 79 degrees. Right, let me just go back and read the fault code again. Sometimes you read the fault code too quickly and you... P208E DENOX system circuit. Detection of a blockage. DENOX system 1, DENOX system... That's alright, let's just go back to DENOX system 1. I think the most relative stuff I'm looking for is in here. 5.8 bar, we're going to have a look at that, see if that looks like it's raising up. And the next physical test we can do would be to remove the AdBlue injector, see if the AdBlue injector is blocked, and maybe see if we can get the AdBlue injector to spray, to see if it's actually spraying out the urea AdBlue. I'm guessing that's what's going to be wrong, but we'll have to do a few more tests and see what's going on. So basically the last garages that he's had this to have just plugged it in, found the fault code and just pressed clear. They haven't even given him the fault code. What it was. If you're paying for a diagnostic, you should at least get the fault code, I think. Either a printout of it or text or written on a piece of paper or whatever. As long as you've got the fault code, if they're not going to fix it, they should at least give you the fault code so you know where you're looking, and if you're going to inquire with someone else, you know, have you seen this fault code before, and would you attempt to fix it? But at least we've got the fault code. That's the main thing. So we'll have a look at doing a test drive there now. Okay, so if we're under the van here, look at the DPF there. You can see that there's white crystal sort of been trickling down there. You can see that's coming from the AdBlue injector. It's definitely leaking. It's got a build up right there as well. Okay, we've now got this off. Try to get a better angle on it. Okay, so we're now back to the diagnostic machine. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned before, but when we've done the test drive, the pressure hasn't changed on the AdBlue, so I can't see any signs of a blockage, but the AdBlue injector does look like it's blocked, or it's leaking, or it's not working. So, and another thing is these fault codes, P2, whatever the fault code was, the translation of these isn't always 100%. So I've seen vehicles before where it says the DPF pressure is too high, and then you look on the diagnostic machine and it actually shows the DPF pressure is way too low and the DPF's cracked. So sometimes the translation of the fault can be incorrect. It could be saying that the DPF, or it could even mean that the reductant pressure is too low. So yeah, we're not looking at the one thing, we're sort of looking at it as a whole, see what we can see wrong, either pressure too low, pressure too high, blockage or leakages. Looks like we have a leakage from the AdBlue injector. Obviously we're going to look at that now and see if we can do an active test of the injector or not. So we do have some options here. Let me just try and get it out of the sunlight. We might be able to see better. No. Okay, we have DENOX urea pipe heating test, urea injector control test. Check the bleeding of the DENOX system. Let's try that one first. Engine off, okay. Okay, activation not possible. Okay, now we're doing a bleeding of the DENOX system. See what that brings up for results. Of course, we'll just keep an eye on the AdBlue injector as well. Right, we've got authorization of the injection, but we haven't got anything coming out of the AdBlue injector. Even with active tests or looking at the live data with the engine up to temperature, we're still not getting anything to work. That's that one. DENOX 1 again. Okay, we have the old injector off. It's in quite a state. It's definitely got a blockage and been leaking. I think if it's not spraying out of the end here, it's sort of back pressuring its way out of here, probably blown a seal somewhere in there. Okay, we have a genuine replacement here that we can get fitted, which looks like this. So what I've done now is I've just used a little pick there to clean out where it sits, because obviously there's a lot of crystallization around there. Pretty simple to fit, but yeah, it does leave marks when you're trying to get your hand up there squeezing in. Okay, now we're going to register a replacement of the injector. It's completed. We'll do reinitialization of the DENOX faults as well. Might not do this because usually you can't do both at the same time. You got to come back out and then go back in and do the other reset. Right, so out of the actuation tests, we have these tests, which I probably should have done while the other injector was off. Degassing, filling of the priming of the additive. No, this is just for the additive tank. This is the Eli's tank, which is not the AdBlue tank. It's completely separate. So let's go back. Let's have a look back in here, see if there's anything else I was missing. No. Replacement parts, emissions, pre-catalyzer, additive tank or fuel additive pump. That's that again. That the fuel additive tank is the Eli's pad fluid. Pipes, NOx sensor, catalytic converter, pre-catalyze. Let's just do it from here as well. Now that's done, we'll go back and we might have to clear the fault code. Yep. And then what we can do is do a test drive of the vehicle for at least around about 20 minutes. Read and confirm the faults have been cleared. Now we'll go back to the live data while we're doing our test drive. We'll keep an eye again on everything. Okay, so according to the history of this car, once the faults are cleared, within a sort of 20-minute drive, you won't get the error pop up on the dash, but you would get the fault code logged. So we'll do a 20-minute test drive and see what we can see, basically. Okay, so test drive done. Now what I've noticed is here on this one, after the AdBlue injector is fitted, we are fluctuating between sort of 5.09 to 5.6. Before, with the old injector, it was hovering between 5.6 to 6.1 or 6.2. So there is about a half a bar difference now that the old injector has been removed. I know that normally it always usually sits around here, but 5.8, 5.9, 6.1, 6.2, I wasn't sure if that would be considered high pressure or not. It obviously was affecting something. So we've just driven it about 15 or 20 minutes so far. Now let's just go back from that and recheck the fault code. Make sure it hasn't come back. So it hasn't come back at the moment, and we'll go back here. We'll do that again. And what I'll do is I'll do a cycle of ignition off and then restarting the van. This is where normally on before I change the injector. When we started here, it would go to sort of 6.2 pressure and a hold there. So we're just about 6 now, and immediately goes down to 5.8, 5.9. So that is kind of roughly the same, but on the test drive it was staying exactly there. So what I'm assuming was happening is, where it's trying to spray the AdBlue in, the pressure isn't dropping or releasing down during the spray pattern. I think that's where the fault code would sort of be triggered off. Now, of course, other things that you could check for this would be, you know, there could be a blockage in the AdBlue lines, there could be a blockage in the actual pump from crystallization, but the trouble I'm having at the minute, at least with this scan tool, is I'm not able to be able to activate the pump to spray out. Don't know, maybe if I try a different scan tool. Okay, so what I've just done there is I've opened the AdBlue injector and it is spraying out. As you can see, we've got a little bit of a spillage down there. I don't know if you can see that, but some smoke coming out. And now the customer just mentioned to me, yeah, that's what was happening before. While he was driving, he was getting smoke coming from here. Of course, because the old AdBlue injector is leaking, so it's going to be misting against the hot DPF, and then you get a steam come out. Yeah, so just like here, you can see the visible signs there where it's been spraying. Instead of spraying out of here, it's been spraying out of the sides of the injector. So we know we haven't got a blockage in the pipes. We have got fluid coming out just down here, and also now we know we don't have a blockage on our new AdBlue injector now that that's been fitted. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just going to use a different branded tool just to double check everything, that it all looks the same on this tool as it is on the other one. What I can say is this tool is way slower, a lot slower. Like it's been scanning for at least 5 or 6 minutes so far, and we're still not finished. Okay, we're going to use this one now. We're just going into the engine again, rescan the fault codes, so nothing there, and then we'll go to special functions again. We'll try service action first. Discharge, filling, bleeding, that's going to be just for additive adding circuit. Yeah, so this is, I don't have the right option there. Particle filter regeneration. We've done the initialization of the AdBlue injector already, so we've basically got the same options there really. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we've removed the DPF pressure holes and we've connected up our kit here. We're going to clean out the catalyst and AdBlue diesel particulate filter. If you saw what I mentioned when we opened the AdBlue injector, there was a lot of crystallization, so I had to poke my way in with a pick to remove the blockage. So obviously inside here there's going to be a lot of crystallization build up and soot. So now that we've got the AdBlue injector working, we're just going to flush all of that down using this Launch UK kit here. Just switch on the compressor and we get that up to 130 psi, 9 bar ish, so it's just max pressure really. And then we just grab our trigger, squeeze it, engine running, and I'm just going to hold the trigger squeezed for a minute or two until all of the fluid is gone. Now see, because the particulate filter sits right in front of the engine on this, you can't fill it with the engine off because you will backfill into the cylinders. So we're just going to do it with the engine running here. Now we get back inside, just hold the revs up for a few minutes or so. Now again we do another 10 or 15 minute test drive. And again on this test drive we can see it's not going above 5.2 bar. So I'm just keeping our eye on that pressure. And we also just keep a look at the DPF particle filter values as well. So that's come down from 11 to 6. Okay, now we just do a rescan, double check if any of the faults have come back. Right, so that's good news. Now, like I said, I've pulled the fuel line, if you could call it that, from the AdBlue injector. It is injecting fuel when the engine's running, or injecting urea, AdBlue, sorry. So we know we're getting fluid to the injector. Obviously we just see that the injector itself was leaking and probably blocked on the nozzle as well. So we've replaced that, we've checked the fluids coming, we've just cleaned out the crystallization and cleaned out the catalyst and DPF, and we've taken her on 2 or 3 test drives now for 15-20 minutes. None of the fault codes have come back, so I'm going to consider this one a fix so far. Customer is a subscriber of my channel, so I'm sure if we have any repeated issues in the future, he can leave a comment in there, or if I get any more information in the future from it, I'll always drop a comment back in there. The whole point of these videos is to make sure we have a permanent fix. So if this doesn't work, I will let you know in the future. But from what I can see here so far, it took about 20 minutes of driving previously for the fault to come back. Now I've been working on the car 2.5 hours, and I've taken it on 3 test drives so far, and it's all fine. So we're just about done. So that's it. We'll see you on our next video.